Alright, YouTube, we're about to go back live again, so bear with me. Alright. About to go on. Alright, we are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Just trying to get some other minor technical things worked out. Thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate that very, very much. Man, so many things with NCAA football, with where teams are ranked. Let's go ahead and dive into some of that. Because to me, that's a really, man, it's just such a big thing. We're getting closer now to the end, and we're starting to see real honed analysis. And so that's very exciting for me personally. I enjoy when we finally start getting into the closing weeks, because then we start to see who teams really are. We also see a lot more also of what the CFP committee is valuing. Now, for everyone who's like, well, isn't it the same every year? No, the CFP members or voters do rotate some here and there every year, and so you're always getting some fresh evaluations, or at least on most years, and that provides us with a little bit different flavor of what gets valued, what gets voted on. And there's a part of that I really don't like. I just don't. I really don't like that. It's becoming very subjective, and I think that if there were a blend between the BCS and the CFP committee, I think if there were a blend, that would be probably a better mix. Like, let's say how the BCS used to work, where it was very objective, totally based on records, points. I mean, there were other things too, and they also considered the AP and the coaches poll and all this other kind of stuff. But if there were a blend between them and their points, and they were about 50%, I say them, it and its points, and that it was considered about 50%. And if there were a blend of the CFP committee, where it was about 50%, and both of them, their rankings and points and all that kind of stuff, if they were released at the very same moment, so that neither one could know what the other party, being the CFP committee and then the BCS, could know what the other one voted on, I would be for that. Because you're going to get a good blend of subjectivity and objectivity. There is a place for some subjectivity. With the BCS, it was so objective that if you did these certain things and scored this many points and all this other kind of stuff, it helped you get in. But there were teams who, by the eye test, deserved to be in over others. And sometimes that should have gone against OU. I know I'm wearing an OU hat. I get it. But there were times OU did not deserve to be in the championship game. At least one for sure that I can think of. They lost in the Kansas State Big 12 championship game. I'm not sure that they deserve to go. And then the year where there were 3 teams with 1 loss, you could maybe have made an argument there too. But is what it is. And so we wound up with the CFP, and I think we've swung the pendulum so far back the other way. And it sometimes is very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But that's how it goes. That's sports for you. Sports are frustrating. Just ask a Thunder fan right now. All right, so here's the new CFP rankings. I'm pulling them up here. All right, there's that. All right. Week 11, CFP rankings, or college football rankings, but I'm specifically going to reference the CFP. You've got Georgia number 1, Alabama number 2, Notre Dame number 3, number 4, Clemson. Now, number 5, Oklahoma, which actually was the same as last week, if I'm not mistaken. And number 6, TCU. Number 7, Miami. Number 8, Wisconsin. And I feel that's a little fair. Maybe Miami and Wisconsin deserve to be above TCU. But, you know, there are arguments to be made there. USC is continuing to climb. Please stop. But it's USC. What are you going to do? So Oklahoma and TCU, number 5 versus number 6, facing off this Saturday. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. Because this has the makings of a really big-time game. There will probably be some points scored, although I do not think it will be as many as last week. For one, TCU's offense is not as dynamic as Oklahoma State. It's not as good. For 2, TCU's defense is better than Oklahoma State. It's a lot better. Mid to a lot better. So, you've got TCU, who doesn't allow as many points, but will not put up as many points. So it's going to be another, I think it'll be in the 30s to 40s, which is still pretty high. I get it. But I think it'll be in the 30s to 40s. If OU can keep TCU under at 31 points or under, 32 points or under, I think they win. If they don't, I think they lose. So I think that's the bottom line there. I will give my prediction a little bit later in the show, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. Give me your score predictions. I would love to hear them. And man, I think it is going to be really good. I do think that whoever wins the OU versus TCU game, whoever wins that, they will become number 4 in the next CFP rankings. They're both number 5, number 6. The CFP has consistently shown, what have you done for me lately? And ultimately, I just think that the committee is going to look at this and say, there's no way we can't make them number 4. And then that team will stay number 4 until Clemson plays Miami? Yeah, until they play Miami. So it's going to be really, really interesting. In my opinion, it will be a very interesting next couple of weeks. Very interesting. Now, this is something interesting for me. Clemson does not play Miami naturally right now in their schedule, but they look to play Miami in their ACC championship game. That's what it looks like. So I think that could wind up being a big showdown. Miami will go to number 5 if they just continue to win. It's just what's going to happen. Because whoever loses out of Miami will go to number 6. Clemson will be at number 5, and whoever wins out of OU TCU will go to number 4. That's just my thoughts. That's where I think they're going to wind up. And we'll see how everything else goes. It is super intriguing though for me. I think just this next couple weeks are super intriguing. Heisman watch. Baker Mayfield is probably going to stay on top for a while if he wins this week. I know it shouldn't just be judged on wins and losses, but if they lose against TCU, he isn't going to stay at the top. I really don't think. Even though I still think that he is the best in college football, if the running back from Wisconsin continues to do well and Wisconsin keeps winning, I know I said last week I gave DLC a bit of a hard time, David, actually on Monday. I still don't think that he's going to win it. I don't think he's been electric enough to win it as a freshman. You have to be really electric as a freshman. And I mean unbelievable. And he's been really, really good. I don't know that he has been jaw-dropping unbelievable. So we'll see. We'll see. I do think that Baker... I do think that Baker will be number 2 at worst in the voting. I really do. I think he will be number 2 at worst, and so that's good. I mean that's really, really good. So I mean if we get to that stage and we see that there is a Saquon Barkley that is just a little over 1,200 yards for the season, and 15 touchdowns or so, it shouldn't be enough. It should not be enough. I get so exhausted. And I mean exhausted. Whenever I see all the talk about Saquon still being up there with the Heisman voting. It absolutely pains me. Because at this point, he doesn't deserve it. Now, I will say this. The group at ESPN had, in their last voting, he got all 12 of the first place votes talking about Baker. It's a good sign. He had 60 points total. Bryce Love was second with 33, as he should be. And Saquon Barkley was number 3 with 28 points, just in their experts poll. Experts. Sometimes it really is as easy as just looking at stats. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Don't outthink yourself. Let's see here. The Miami Hurricanes. Let's kind of go over their schedule because I think that they are headed for a meeting with Clemson. But before that, they play Notre Dame. That's right. I forgot that the Notre Dame game was this weekend. Oh, this is going to be good. In fact, we're not going to pick them right now. We're not even going to talk about that game. I'll talk about it whenever I make the pick after these short messages. So join me on the other side of this break. We will be right back, and we will definitely go over my thoughts on the on all the games that I think matter for this upcoming weekend. All right, we will be right back. All right, YouTube Live, thank you for hanging around. We got about a minute and 35 seconds or so, and we'll be resuming the talks. Let me know. I am curious about where you think OU will wind up if they win against TCU, or where TCU will wind up. I think it'll be the same no matter what, but where TCU will wind up if they beat OU. Also, let me know what your thoughts are on Miami and Notre Dame. Where you think Miami will go if they beat Notre Dame. What you think will happen to Notre Dame? Will they perhaps unseat Alabama from the number 2 spot just because of strength of schedule and who they've whom they've beaten? I think it would be really interesting. So let me know your thoughts. I think it's very intriguing with all the games. It's going to be really, really good though coming down this stretch. Really good. A lot of comments on YouTube Live right now, and really appreciate that, Dana and Debbie. We'll get to some of those thoughts here in just a second. We're about to go live in just a minute. All right, we are back. So glad to be with you this morning, and man, it's exciting because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Although not all of it is positive with the way the Thunder have been running lately, or lack thereof. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I got a lot of comments on the live chat this morning. Debbie and Dana, thank you so much for your messages. It has been it's always fun whenever you have a lot of messages because you get to interact. It's just a lot more fun, and really appreciate that. Debbie says good morning, and Dana chimes in as well. Another tough opponent that will go to the wire, and Sooners for the win against TCU. Dana had some thoughts on the Thunder, and we'll get to those when we get to the Thunder discussion. I think those are really, really good comments, and I definitely want to get to those. Debbie says, talking about OU, no, they won't play defense. I still stand behind them, but I'm disappointed on how they are not playing together. Sorry. You were talking about the Thunder. That's good stuff. Debbie says, though, about OU that she thinks OU will probably win, but in a close game. So let's So let's get into this. Let's get into some of the discussions about the picks. Let me see if I can get some good music for the picks here. There we go. All right. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Perfect. All right, here we go. Nope, not good. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna make some picks for the NCAA football games going on this weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend in the world of sports, specifically for the NCAA football games. Let's dive in. We're going to say the two really big games, that being Notre Dame versus Miami, number 3 versus number 7, and Oklahoma versus TCU, number 5 versus number 6. We will save those till the end, so bear with me in that. Let's see here. What are some good games to pick? Man, just where to start? You know what we could do? We could start with Washington, Stanford. Number 9, Washington at Stanford. That is tonight at 9:30 p.m. because it's a West Coast game. That's okay. But man, number 9, Washington at unranked Stanford. Bryce Love continues his Heisman bid. Washington continues to try to scratch into the playoffs. They need a lot of things to happen for them to make it. I don't think a Pac-12 team is making it this year, but there's a small chance. I think Stanford is going to upset Washington. I just think they're going to upset them. And this is going to be an interesting game, in my opinion, but I just really think that they're going to wind up upsetting them. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. You've got... Well, this is a good game. Man, there's a number of good games. Okay, Georgia. Number 1, Georgia at Auburn. Number 10. Man, Auburn trying to somehow make a way into the playoffs. If they beat Georgia and Alabama and win the SEC championship game, which, in my opinion, they won't, but if they do those things, I think you have a 2-loss team getting in. How do you not put them in? How do you not put them in if they beat both those teams and then win the championship game, which may mean beating Georgia twice? I just don't know how they don't get in. But we'll see. This is going to be an interesting game. Top 10 game. There are 3 top 10 games this week. That is very exciting. Number 2, Alabama at Mississippi State. Number 16. I think Alabama wins this one. I think they win going away. Notre Dame, Miami will pick after the Clemson-Florida State game. So Florida State at Clemson. I think Florida State, showed a little bit of a resolve last week, but I don't think they have enough versus Clemson. I think Clemson wins that game without too much issue. Iowa. I said we would do Notre Dame, Miami. We're going to go to Iowa first. Iowa at Wisconsin. Iowa with a big upset win against Ohio State last week. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to pick Iowa to beat Wisconsin. Yeah, I'm going to pick them. If they played that well against Ohio State, I think that Wisconsin's offense is slanted toward running. And I think Iowa will do a pretty good job against that. Number 12, Michigan State versus Ohio State. At Ohio State. And Ohio State's number 13. I think Ohio State wins that one. But man, Michigan State's been beating up on some people. I think Ohio. I'm gonna pick Ohio State. Number 15, Oklahoma State versus number 21, Iowa State. Big 12 matchup. Iowa State, I think, still wants to show something. I'm not sure that Iowa State can knock off all three of the big boys in the Big 12. They've done two. They are giant slayers right now. Man, I'm going to take Iowa State. Lots of upsets this weekend. You've got number 18, UCF, undefeated versus a 3-6 UConn. They should beat them pretty easily. All right, let's go ahead and get to the meat, the real meat and potatoes for this weekend. Notre Dame at Miami. Notre Dame, number 3 at number 7, Miami. If this were at Notre Dame, I would probably pick Notre Dame. I'm going with Miami. I've been riding the Miami Hurricanes all season long. I'm going to pick Miami. Picking them. Yep. That's who I'm going with. And then number 6, TCU versus number 5, Oklahoma at Oklahoma. I feel less sure about this because Oklahoma's at home and Baker's been so good on the road. I just hope he stays focused. I hope the whole team stays focused. I hope they come out inspired to make a statement and tell the CFP, you cannot keep us out of the top 4 after this weekend. I hope. If Bedlam didn't inspire the defense and the whole team, if this doesn't inspire the defense and the whole team, I'm not 100% sure what will. Although, I still have some suspicions that if it were a non-Big 12 team, they would probably really show up versus a top-ranked out-of-conference opponent. Big name like Ohio State, Alabama. I think the guys want to show up for that. But we'll see. We'll see if they can even prove that. They got to win this weekend. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up a couple of the other Big 12 games. There we go. All right. There we are. West Virginia at Kansas State. I'm going to pick West Virginia in that one. Texas Tech at Baylor. Texas Tech, I believe, is on a 2 or 3 game losing streak. I think that Texas Tech will win this game. And then 1-8 Kansas versus 4-5 Texas. Duran. Sorry, buddy. I got to go with Texas on this one. Just can't pick Kansas. Just can't do it. All right. That has been a wrap-up of the NCAA score predictions. Send me your thoughts. Let me know whom you think will wind up winning this game, or these games, especially the big ones with OU versus TCU. If you have any thoughts on any of the other games as well, would love to hear your thoughts. All right, let's let's do this. Let's go ahead and switch gears. Let's talk about the Thunder. The Thunder last night lose again. They lose to the Denver Nuggets. That's a bit less embarrassing than the Kings, but it's still bad. It's still really bad. I'm not sure what is going on with this team. But I will say they completely lost that game in the fourth quarter. They started losing it whenever they gave up what was an 11 or 12 point lead. But they really lost it in the fourth quarter. Free throws were a problem. They were 7 of 14. Russell Westbrook continues his struggle at the free throw line. 0 of 3. There were just problems all the way around. Let me read you some of the numbers. Probably the only positive thing from this game was Carmelo Anthony. He was 10 of 20, 6 of 10 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, only 2 turnovers. Good stat line. Paul George, 6 of 14, 1 of 4 from 3, 0 of 2 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, but 4 turnovers. He's been turnovering the ball quite a bit this season. Steven Adams was okay. Russell Westbrook, 6 of 22, 1 of 6 from 3, 0 of 3 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 turnovers. And then Andre Robertson, 2 of 4, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers. I like that he's getting assists. It's good. He's facilitating. He was the only Thunder player with a positive plus-minus. He had 4 points. Patrick Patterson didn't play a ton. Had an okay outing. Only 3 points. Jeremy Grant was a bright spot as well. I said Carmelo was the lone bright spot. But that's not true. Jeremy Grant and Raymond Felton. Jeremy Grant was 3 of 6, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers, total of 11 points. Raymond Felton, 6 of 10, 0 of 2 from 3. Let's see here, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover. 12 points total. Alex Abrinas played 12 minutes, made 1 free throw. It was a technical, I believe. So, there you go. There were some of the stats. Those were the stats. In the fourth, so they lost 102-94. In the fourth quarter, they lost 27-19. 8-point difference. Everything was tied after the third. And they lost it in the fourth, which has not actually been super typical. They've tended to perform well in the fourth, but they gave up too much early and weren't able to overcome the deficit. This game was a little bit different. people want to talk about free throws. The players want to gripe about officiating. But here's the bottom line. You didn't move the ball very well. 16 assists. You got out-rebounded, now only by 1, but you still got out-rebounded. You shot 50% on your free throws. Even if you would have had as many free throws as the Denver Nuggets, you still would have lost by 4 based on your percentage. Still, it doesn't matter. So for all the Thunder players and all the Thunder fans who are like, well, the officiating's been bad. Well, it has been bad at points. I agree. But that is not why they lost this game. That is not why they lost the last game, nor the game before. They should be better. They should be way better than these other teams. And they're playing like a bunch of babies. They're complaining all the time. Shut up and just go play. File your complaints with the league. But you know what? You've got to start accepting blame. It's your fault. It's your fault, Westbrook. It's your fault, George. For some of it, it's your fault, Carmelo Anthony. Now, Carmelo showed up really well last night. And at times, one of the big three on this team has shown up in one of those games. But at least 2 of you have got to do well. At least 2. And Billy, I know that you may be trying to do different things. I get it. I'm not sure what the answer is either. But you know this team better than anyone else in the world. You know this team. We've got to try some different things. The rotations aren't working right now. They just aren't. The rotations aren't working. In fact, the thing that a lot of people thought was going to be a weak spot for this team, talking about the bench, overall, it's not been that bad. Last night, only 4 guys came off the bench because you're trying to win this game. I actually think put some more of the bench guys in. Because the rest of this team playing like garbage overall. And actually, one of the other guys I've had complaints about in the past, Andre Robertson, he's playing his tail off. And he's actually doing some positive things. More than what we expect. So, Thunder, you got to learn to deal. Deal with the bad calls. Stop complaining. Just go play basketball. The Thunder right now are 0-3 in the first night of a back-to-back. That is so backwards. And for all of you who follow basketball or have followed it for at least a little bit of time, you understand that. Normally, it's the second game of a back-to-back that teams lose. Because their legs are worn out, they're tired, and it's understandable. If this team were only really losing, for the most part, the second night of a back-to-back, we're talking about back-to-back games, I'm with you. I'm with you. I get it. But the first night of a back-to-back, you can't show some urgency. The team doesn't sound or look like it's fully inspired every game. Not sure what's happened with Westbrook's free throw shooting, but it's bad. This team just needs a mental check. I'm not one for players resting. I'm not one for doing that because I hate that the fans lose in that scenario. But my personal opinion, the big three need a rest. You say, all of you guys just need to sit down. We're going to play our bench players who maybe want to play a little bit more. Huestis, suit up. Ferguson, suit up. Dakari Johnson, suit up. Collison, go show them what it's like to be a pro. Please. And I was not a fan of us going out and getting Kendrick Perkins because I thought, we don't need another locker room guy. We're good. We would have two guys who can't really play with Collison and Perkins. But at this point, I think you need a Perkins. You need someone to come and wake these guys up. Now, if there's another guy in the league that you can go get that's more serviceable and can actually be played, go get him. But right now, you need someone to wake this team up, to wake the players up. Obviously, Donovan's not getting that part done. You need someone to wake this team up. Because it's bad basketball. It is really bad basketball. Let me get to some comments real quick. So talking about the big three, Dana and Debbie were commenting on this on the live feed. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. Debbie says, wondering the same thing about the Thunder from my earlier comments, said, my opinion, the big three play their own way, may even be bickering among themselves. I don't think any of the three like being second. All three want to be number one. Agreed. I think even in that scenario, you can have some pretty special things. But they've all got to be willing to submit, they've got to be willing to compromise. Dana says they can't or won't play defense. And Debbie followed that up with, no, they won't play defense. I still stand behind them, but I'm disappointed on how they are not playing together. And I agree. Dana agreed with that. She said that they take their students to watch them play if they read 500,000 words by November. That's cool. Debbie thought that was cool too. Anyways, Dana says, nailed it, Evan. Time for them to put on their big boy pants. And Debbie agreed with that. And Debbie agreed with the bench playing well too. At this point, I think that the Thunder have to commit. They have to commit to what Donovan is wanting from them. They've got to commit to playing for each other, not for themselves. What I was hoping we would see from Westbrook last night is with a really bad shooting night. And I agree, Debbie. She says the bench could probably win a game. Yeah, because they're playing against bad teams and losing. The bench probably could win and play and win. Anyways, I was hoping we would see from Westbrook where he was just saying, you know what, I'm frustrated, but instead of taking my frustration out by jacking up the ball and not doing a lot with it, I'm going to drive hard into the paint and I'm going to kick it out over and over and over. George is going to have 20 to 25 shots. Melo is going to have 25 to 30 shots. Jeremy Grant is going to have 10 plus shots until finally the middle of the floor opens up and I can just go straight to the basket. And by the way, hit some layups. It is bad right now. Bad basketball. Selfish basketball. They got to do something. I just want to see them respond differently. They keep doing the same things over and over right now. I think if this team tastes a win, and they will, I don't expect them to lose the rest of their games. But I think when they taste a win, that is a point at which Billy Donovan will capitalize. He'll say, look, we did X, Y, Z, and we won the game. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I want to go back into another losing streak. Are you going to play this way? But maybe this is good for the team. Maybe this is a good humbling moment. You know, just now thinking about this could be a very good thing for the Thunder. Humble. Humility would be a great thing for this team to have right now. Look, none of you three can do it on your own. You just can't. So, do you want to win? And maybe Donovan can get them to play his style of ball. Because I'm not entirely convinced that how they're playing is how Donovan is instructing them to play. I'm really not. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Let me know your thoughts. There are so many things to watch this weekend with all the football games. The Thunder will be back in action again tonight. We'll see if they can actually put a win together. Just give us 3 good quarters. Just 3. But they play the Clippers tonight. And based on how they've been playing, I'm not convinced that they're going to win. But it's at home. They've been on the road. But it's at home. They've lost 4 straight. They're dead last in their division. I'm going to say they're going to get a win tonight. So I'm going to pick the Thunder tonight. I think that they will beat them. The Thunder held a closed-door meeting late Thursday night after their 4th consecutive loss. Right now, the Thunder are 0-6 against the West. We'll see, though. We'll see what they can do. George was reported as saying it was just good to get everything out on the table. According to the Oklahoman. Especially when where we're at right now, it's no good if we're bottling it up, because then we could carry it over to the next game, and the next game just leave everything out in the open. Sounds like some words were said. Good. Raymond Felton said meetings just make sure we all stay together no matter what. Everybody said their piece. Coach said his piece. Coach Billy Donovan. Right now, we going through something, and we got to stick together no matter what. Anthony said, you have to talk about it. You have to look at it. You have to be upfront with everybody. Everybody's got to be held accountable for what's going on. And Anthony later said, it could go 2 ways. We could let this sit in our heads and think about it, or put it behind and move forward. That's the beauty of this league and having so many games. I know we complain about back-to-backs, but sometimes the back-to-backs are in our favor as players because you get to put that game behind you. I like that. We'll see what they do tonight. I do think that they'll get the win, and it will be something that we see, especially after this closed-door meeting. I think it's probably really good. I think Donovan had so much power in that meeting last night. I hope he capitalized on it, but I think he had so much power to just say, look, play my brand of basketball. Play my brand. Now he tends to be a player's coach, but we'll see. Hopefully they listen. All right, so we're actually going to wrap up early because I got to get to work. So we will be back on Monday morning. I do believe that Dustin will be joining us then, and it'll be good to have him back with us as well. and we will talk about everything that will happen this weekend in the world of sports. Definitely feel free to drop any messages between now and then, and we would love to definitely speak with you and go over any questions or comments that you have. Thank you so much for all the comments this morning, Dana and Debbie. Really appreciate that very much. If you're listening on the app, thank you so much. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, even if you use the app, you can actually go to the YouTube app our YouTube channel right through the app. Just click on the YouTube tile. When you get there, you can subscribe to our channel. Would really appreciate that. We're pushing to get to 100, so if you could help us get there, we would appreciate that very, very much. And then we can get our own custom URL and address on YouTube. That would be really cool. So help us get there. Help us get there. Thank you so much. We will speak with you on Monday. Have a great weekend. May God bless you. May He keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you. And may He give you peace. All right. We will see you or talk to you on Monday.